But the number one issue that I've come across is germination. Everyone asks about germination. Why can't I germinate this? Why can't I germinate that? Does anybody know what the number one vegetable we get calls for the most with zero germination or difficult germination? Peppers. Anybody have any ideas why?
Do they need sandier soil? Probably because their soil is
Okay.
clay and they need something that has...
That's a good point. That's not entirely all the reasons. Peppers, the answer was here, the suggestion, and it's a good answer. It's hard soil. A lot of seeds won't germinate with hard soil, clay soil. So yes, we need, for peppers, the best soil that I've found to germinate. And you can just buy it. I mean, I've germinated peppers in all kinds of soil, but the best that I've seen is Miracle-Gro organic mix that they have, believe it or not. Miracle-Gro has an organic soil, potting soil. It's the best, I think. And then the orchid mix, believe it or not. It has the least amount of peat moss in it. For some reason, especially hot peppers, but peppers in general don't like excessive peat moss in the soil. That's why they don't do so well in many times in these peat pots. And the other reason why peat pots, I don't really recommend them so much because I believe they just draw out moisture away from the seed unless you can really stay on top of that watering and soak that peat pot and keep it moist. Otherwise, it just kind of tends to draw that moisture away from the seed onto the outer parts of the peat pot itself and then evaporate into the air. So I would not recommend using those for peppers because you need to maintain consistent moisture if at all possible. This is my theory on another reason why. Seeds have oil in them, right? A lot of seeds have fatty acids, all kinds of different oils. Peppers have like 4 or 5 different types of oils. The main seed body, which is the food of the seed. That's how it gets its food to sprout out. And once you put that water on there, it starts to expand, but a lot of things happen and causes a reaction. If you cannot get that moisture through into that area, which I think a lot of times these oils inhibit that moisture, particularly in the hot peppers. And some hot peppers take months to germinate, at least 30 days, believe it or not. Now, I can't tell you how many calls we get, or I get at least, and problems with hot peppers not germinating. And I believe that's one of the main reasons. And you can look up, I have a scientific journal right there that kind of explains that it's very difficult to get hot peppers to germinate. They just take longer. So don't feel bad. It's not Baker Creek's fault. It's not necessarily your fault. Well, maybe a little bit impatient, but they take longer. Yes, question?
Can you nick the seeds or put them in soapy water?
That's a good question, or good point there. I would not nick the seeds of the peppers, but what I would do is soak them in just for maybe 5 minutes, hydrogen peroxide, just a straight solution. That kind of etches them just a little bit. You can't tell that it's etched, but hydrogen peroxide, you'll see kind of foaming up a little bit, but that kind of gets them ready. And then take them out, rinse them off, and then they're ready to go. Some people do that way, and it works out good. What about temperature? So we're talking a little bit about moisture, consistent moisture for germination. Okay, try not to use peat moss or peat cups for those. What about temperature? Soil temperature. What do peppers like? 85? Close. 86. All right. Optimum temperature is about 86 degrees, all the way up to even 95. All right, 95 degrees. So get a heat mat. I can't tell you how many people, bless their hearts, they come and I got peppers. And I says, where do you have? Right off the bat, I says, okay, where do you have them growing? On a windowsill. Okay, what's the temperature outside? Oh, about 50 degrees at daytime, and I'm trying to start them, and at night it gets almost freezing outside. Well, what does a window do during the night? You're getting that radiation of the coolness coming right there on the pepper plants. the soil is being cooled down and then raised up and during the day and going back and forth. And it says, I'll recommend one thing. Just go, Amazon or go to Amazon.com or Walmart and pick up a heating mat. And it stays pretty much, you can get adjustable ones, but you can get ones that get about 85 degrees. They're perfect for germination. It's worth the money. I have big, long ones like 4 foot long, and I just put them out, all my trays on a rack. I use trays with little 2-inch or 1.5-inch cells. I put the whole thing in there. I can put 4 of them across there, put my peppers in through there, keep it moist, nice heat on the bottom. I don't worry about lighting until they sprout up. And my lighting, once it sprouts, is 4 or 2 double fixture 4-foot fluorescent lights. 1 cool and 1 warm. So you got a cool and a warm on this fixture, a cool and a warm on this fixture. And I turn them on 15 hours a day, turn them off when I go to bed. All right, keep them 4 inches above the pepper plants once they sprout out. Yes, sir?
No, before I got my heat mat, I would start them on top of the refrigerator.
Refrigerator?
Yes, and that had constant heat coming up on
Good.
top of that, too.
Yeah, a good, very good point. Start them on your refrigerator if you can. If you can't, if you don't want to, spend any heat mats or any money on that, they're about $24 or so for an average heat mat. But a refrigerator works well. Some people put them on water heaters. Anything where it's high up where the heat rises, tops of cabinets. Be careful of watering though. Remember, consistent moisture. That's the second thing. Is the watering. Be really careful. People, I water it every day. But yes, peppers like a little bit of dryness before you re-water again. They don't like it soaking, but you don't want to let it dry out completely. Once that seed starts expanding, you don't want to dry it out again. And that just kills the little embryonic start there that starts off that root, and then you got the leaf part comes up later. So you really don't want to dry that plant out. Keep it consistent. Yes.
So it's misting then?
You can mist it. I get a little pump mister, and I just every day, sometimes twice a day, I have to get there, and it takes time, but I just keep them all misted and nice and wet, moist, but not soaking wet. Yes, I saw a hand up.
You said 1 hot bulb, 1 cool bulb. So are you talking
Yes.
like a T5 versus like a T12?
I think I use T8s. Yeah, on my 4-foot lamp, it's 2 sockets basically. One for I put a warm bulb, and then in the same fixture, just on the other side, I use the cool one, T8. And there's Philips, General Electric makes some, and then there's some other companies, and they provide kind of a full spectrum of lighting for that. And I just buy a 6-shelf. Steel rack, a chrome rack. You can get them at any of these box stores. Mine have wheels on it, so I can wheel it around. I bought a thing to plug in all those. What are those power strips? I guess they call them. I had 12 sockets. So I had 12 of these things all plugged into one, and it does work, folks, in one socket. So I didn't blow my wall away, but. And, it's temporary. They're not plugged in all the time. You can look out on your meter, and it's not doing this, But it does take, you can tell it's a little rise in electricity bill, but not much, and it's worth it. Okay, so that's probably the #1 issue that we get at Baker Creek is germination. So seeds require correct moisture. Seeds require correct temperature. And I have some let me see if I can find here the temperatures just for germination here. I got this if you want to write them down. I'm not going to go through this, but I put C by all the cool loving vegetables. You can kind of see the optimum temperature, 75 for asparagus seeds, 75 for lettuce, cool loving, right? Here's onion, 75 optimum temperature, soil temperature, by the way. Parsley, 75. Peas, cool loving. Peas are they like cool weather, 75. Spinach, 70. That's the optimum, okay? Now spinach can go all the way down to, believe it or not, 45 degrees, it starts germinating. I've had snow on my spinach outside because it ripped my cover off and it survives quite well. So cool-loving plants generally like cool temperatures in the soil to germinate, versus 90 for muskmelon, 85 for peppers, 86 over here, 95 is maximum for peppers, pumpkins 95, you know, squash 95, you can see, watermelon 95, you can see the difference in seeds there. So if you need to copy this, you can come up here and do that.